On December 10th, 2015, the internet was graced with Ash Greninja, a special form that Ash's Greninja was able to reach due to the bond between the two, where Greninja took on some of the aspects of Ash's design. And everybody lost it. Greninja was already a cool Pokemon enough, but with this, its popularity skyrocketed, becoming the #1 most popular Pokemon in 2016, especially with it becoming playable in the special demo of Sun and Moon starting October 18th, 2016, with the ability Battle Bond, where, if Greninja takes a KO in battle, it'll transform into Ash Greninja, not only boosting its stats, but also its signature move, Water Shuriken, normally a 15 base power move that hits 2 to 5 times, but when used by Ash's Greninja, its base power rises to 20 and always hits 3 times, effectively giving it a flat 60 base power. However, that's enough about Greninja, this video isn't about him. Instead, I would like to see what it would look like if other famous trainers could battle bond with their Pokemon. What would they look like? Well, howdy hey everyone, I'm Little Yoga Man and I'm a Fakemon artist, so I'm here to answer that question. So with all the formalities out of the way, let's hop in. The first battle bond Pokemon I would be designing is Olivia's Lycanroc. Not quite sure why I chose this one specifically, but it was just the first pair to pop in my head. I just vividly remember Olivia's Lycanroc in the anime. Plus, I had a really interesting idea. What if those rocks coming out of Lycanroc's mane became crystals used all over Olivia's design? And I think it turned out fine. This is definitely the weakest out of all 4 in this video, with the stiff pose and all that. I also added this long curly Q that's also on Olivia's design. Ash Greninja has some of the hair that resembles Ash's, and going forward all of the following designs have some of homage to their trainer's hair as well. I also darkened much of the white fur on Lycanroc to much better match Olivia's hair as well. So, here's Olivia's Lycanroc. Since Ash Greninja got a buff to its Water Shuriken, figured I might as well give buffs to the moves of the other Pokemon here. So Lycanroc's Zoroark gets buffed to 60 base power instead of just a regular 40. The next Pokemon on this list is Natural Harmonia Gropus and Zoroark. These two are already very intertwined, with Zoroark's ponytail very likely meant to mimic N's. Despite only being used once, like the rest of N's Pokemon, Zoroark is arguably the most iconic of all of them. In fact, there's a decent amount of evidence to prove that N himself is a Zoroark, even if I don't personally believe it. So for this design, I mostly wanted to mirror N's design in the hair. All the red is replaced by the green of N's hair, and the ponytail starts significantly higher up, as well as having nothing to hold it together because for some reason, N's hair isn't held together by anything. It just kinda does that. But other than the hair and slight color changes, this is essentially just a regular Zoroark, which kind of fits N's whole theme. For a bit I considered making it white to resemble N's jacket, but I didn't end up going for that and kept it black. So here's N's Zoroark. Zoroark's signature move is Night Daze, which is normally a 85 base power move with a 40% chance to lower the target's accuracy. However, if battle bonded, it becomes 90 base power with a 60% chance to lower accuracy. Is this kind of busted? Yeah, but frankly I don't care too much about balancing too much, if I'm being honest. And from here on out, the remaining 2 Pokemon in this video were recommended while I was streaming, so if you want to watch those, check out the link in the description to my Discord. And for the next Pokemon, we have arguably one of the most iconic champion and Pokemon pairs out there, Cynthia and Garchomp. We've all heard the horror stories, the anxiety causing music when approaching her, wiping multiple times in Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum only for it to get even worse in BDSP. There's a reason this thing's called the Nuzlocke Killer. It's super fast and hits like a semi. I contemplated for a while on how to go about putting designs of Cynthia into Garchomp, and I'd say this is the most subtle out of all of them in this video. But the parallels are definitely there. The most obvious would probably be the fur color and cuffs, but it also has other things going for it, including Cynthia's hair ornaments replacing Garchomp's horns, the yellow stomach being replaced by a black one to better parallel Cynthia's outfit, and a simplified silhouette of her hair replacing the star on Garchomp's face. All in all, I'd say this does a pretty good job of taking Cynthia's design and combining it with Garchomp's. So, here is Cynthia's Garchomp. Unlike the previous 2, Garchomp does not have a signature move to call its own, so instead I decided to buff just one of the regular moves she uses in her champion battle. Dragon Rush, a 100 base power move with a 20% chance to flinch. The buff doesn't increase the base power, but instead raises the flinch chance to 30%. And finally is Iris and Haxorus. At first, this one seemed by far the most difficult, and it was, for a couple reasons. First of all, Haxorus has a pretty complicated shape, especially around the head area, but once that was finished, it was pretty smooth sailing for the rest of the design. The actual hard part was figuring out how to incorporate Iris's design into it. Since I was using her Black 2 and White 2 appearance, the one where she's the champion, her outfit doesn't exactly fit with her being the Dragon-type specialist, with the exception of maybe the hair, which by itself is great contrast for character design, but when I'm trying to combine two things that are just so different, it makes my job just that much harder. Not to say I didn't like this one though, this final design might actually be my favorite out of all four in this video. For the obvious changes, I gave Haxorus Iris's hair, which, like I said, is the most draconic or wild part of her design, making a smooth integration, as well as her flowy silk scarf, which gave a bit of elegance to the design. I also changed the colors very slightly, changing the blood red on Haxorus to a more pinkish color that matches Iris's dress, and the gray become a navy blue to match Iris's hair. But overall, I'd say this is a pretty successful design. So here is Iris's Haxorus. Just like with Garchomp, Haxorus doesn't have a signature move to be powered up by Battle Bond, so instead I just used a regular move that Iris's Haxorus knows. Dual Chop, normally being a 40 base power move hitting twice, now has 80 base power and hits twice, essentially turning it from an 80 base power move into a 100 base power one. And that's it for today. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, even if it's a bit shorter than usual. Like I said before, if you want to see me draw my designs in real time, hop in the Discord. But with that being said, see ya, and stay safe.